How's his D, and I'm back with another video. Well, the last 24 hours has been pretty crazy for the Series S. Now, if we rewind 24 hours previously, everybody was pretty much ecstatic on the Xbox Series S announcement. Now, the $299 price point really did hit the sweet spot for a lot of gamers. Like I said, that was 24 hours earlier. The last 24 hours, we've had developers and so-called developers popping up saying that the lower VRAM that's inside the Series S is going to be a problem for that system, and that it will in fact hold back the Series X. Now today we're going to address all of these issues, and I have some confirmation from real developers. So all of you guys that are typing in the comment section down below that I don't have the right information or that I'm not a developer so I can't speak on this, I want you guys to come to the screen, come really slowly, come a little bit closer. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I have some information today from actual developers, an ex-Sony developer, as well as Gavin Stevens, who, if you don't remember, broke down the Velocity architecture with an extremely detailed post. Now today he went into details on the memory constraints that are inside of the Series S and if it will hold back the superior Series X. Now right off the bat, I want to say that some of these developers that are bringing up these issues, they are legitimate concerns. Now if they're founded is another question, but I do believe that they are legitimate. Now one of those developers is from ID Software, so he does make AAA games. I'll say that he has a valid concern, but I want to know, does he have a development kit for the Xbox Series S? Is he bringing any of his games over currently to the Series S or Series X? Now I'm not going to say he's not entitled to his opinion, but if you look at his post, you can see that he actually wanted 30 gigabytes of VRAM for these next generation consoles. Now when we look at the RTX 3090 that's coming out from NVIDIA later this month, that card uses 24 gigabytes of VRAM, so it's very unreasonable to think that the consoles would have 30 gigabytes of VRAM. So his concern that the Xbox Series S doesn't have enough VRAM, I can understand where he's coming from because he just wants a lot of VRAM, but I don't think it's going to be a problem at the end of the day. Now we have another developer that also chimed in on this, and if you look at the end of his post, he goes on to say that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because third-party games will use a setup for scaling that they do on the PC, and they'll be able to transfer it to consoles very well. So he was complaining about not having enough VRAM, just to finish up saying that it won't matter to third-party developers. Now some of these developers, I know they want as much as they can get, and they would like these consoles to have 40 gigabytes of VRAM utilization. I get it, but it's just not realistic. I think the 8 gigabytes of VRAM that is on the Series S is more than enough. The Series S has sampler feedback, which will heavily reduce the constraints of the VRAM. They have the Velocity architecture. The I/O improvements are just a lot better. Now, like I stated before, some of you guys say I'm not qualified to make these assessments, so I asked an actual developer. I asked Chris Grinnell, and he responded saying, absolutely, Mike Ybarra mentioned this increase in memory speeds on the RDX chat. You've got a much more powerful CPU, immensely faster storage, I/O, memory. To say the Xbox One X is more powerful, there is no point in upgrading. It's just idiotic, and I'm gonna go as far to say that the VRAM utilization that is on the Series S is more than enough to bring you 1440p, 60 to 120 frames per second. Now, like Chris mentioned in his tweet, Mike Ybarra was in the RDX chat this week, and he did say that it will be a non-issue, to ignore developers that are saying that it will be an issue, as the Xbox Series S will not hold back the Series X. Now we have another developer, Gavin Stevens. As I mentioned before, he was the guy that broke down the Velocity architecture. He has a very detailed post that I will link in the description down below. So I'm not going to go into the whole detail of it because it is a very lengthy post, but I will highlight the part where he talks about the VRAM utilization. Now he goes on to say that he was expecting more RAM. He was expecting it to be the same speed, just less. However, as you can see, the RAM has not only dropped in size, but in speed. He goes on to say that it is a rather large drop from the Series X, but in all honesty, if anyone is concerned or for the issues for the developers, it will be because of this. But if you take a closer look, you will see that an obvious drop in resolution means a massive drop in VRAM utilization. And as such, you can strike off a shed of load off that memory right away. In fact, 4K traditionally uses 8 gigabytes of VRAM, while 1080p just 2 to 6 gigabytes. And at 1440p, 4 to 8 gigabytes. With such a large cost reduction, it is possible to hold more other data in the memory, meaning that you already need less speed. However, let's take a look further. Smart delivery will also be used for delivering only the assets you need. What does this mean exactly? Well, on the Xbox Series S, you can have lower resolution textures or lower polygon models as a possibility. I don't see this becoming a norm, but it is possible, so I need to mention it. Hence, they would require substantially less memory. Another amazing implementation is sampler feedback streaming, which drastically reduces the cost of the on-screen assets in memory by only drawing the parts of the MIP that are visible. A lower resolution means a lower MIP required, hence more memory gain. So here you have a developer confirming that it's not going to be an issue on the Series S. Now, Microsoft is using new features of RDNA 2. They're also using features that are built into their API that give a huge benefit to the Series S. And sampler feedback streaming is just one example of those techniques benefiting the Series S. Now, in the end, I don't really think it's going to make a difference. Yes, the 8 GB of VRAM that is in the Series S is less than the Xbox One X. However, it is GDDR6, which is much better than the RAM that is found in the Xbox One X. As well, the CPU is a quantum leap in the Series S to the one that is found in the Xbox One X. So overall, the Series S will outperform the Xbox One X, and I don't believe it'll hold back the Series X. Just like you can scale from a 2080 Ti on PC down to a 2060, the same will be for these next generation consoles. The Xbox Series S will not hold back the Series X. In my honest opinion, $299 for the Series S, I do believe that Microsoft has a potential hit on their hands. I do think that this console is going to be very hard to find this holiday, just because the $299 price point does hit gamers' sweet spot. Now, we have to wait and see what Sony announces for their all-digital PlayStation 5. I am expecting that system to come in anywhere from $399 to $449, and the regular version is expected to come in at $499. Now, if Sony is smart, they will price the digital version at $399. I think that's the only answer that they have to the Series S, and it also makes a compelling offer. You pay $100 more for a substantially more powerful system. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all this information. Do you think that the Xbox One X is better than the Series S? And as well, do you think that the Series S will hold back the Series X? Let me know in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.